Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
Go. What a song. What a song.
It is a great song. Two items for you.
Yes.
The score, the weekend scoreboard tally is in. Wonderful, nice blue weekend, warm weather, everything. The final score is College of Big Island, 1,232. Social Distancing Institute, 0. It was a bit of a blowout. Yes, today.
We were out on the lake yesterday, Joe, some friends of mine and I, and boy, there wasn't a whole lot of social distancing going on in Lake Minnetonka, I got to tell you.
How about urinating in the water? Was there a little of that?
Well, Pat, we had a gal that was with us that wasn't from the area, and she said, boy, I can't wait to go for a swim. And I said, I don't think you want to go.
We got to get over there by Wayzata Bay, maybe, before we do that. The other thing I would like to report, who was the man ahead of his time when he bought a convertible? Couple of years ago. Me, right?
You of course.
Sure.
Yeah, now you're supposed to drive with your windows open. I got the whole thing. I am safe. You can't get me. I am safe. Drive with the windows open. I saw that, and I was very excited.
So if the top's down, is the mask on? Or is it off?
Yeah, right. I did see some woman in front of me today going about 28 with her mask on and was trying to decide whether she was going to make that left turn or not. And from the convertible, I did cast a very loud aspersion about make up your bleeping mind, you know. Are you going to turn or not, honey? You got to make up your mind.
Let's go here.
Let's go here.
Anyway, it's I mentioned this to Reavers earlier, but driving downtown today, I drove through town and we were in the North Loop yesterday and saw about 3 condo buildings under construction, large condo buildings. And then all through downtown, there are these buildings that are half complete. And I got to wonder if they're ever going to be completed, Joe, when we decide not to have law enforcement downtown. I wonder, between the pandemic and other issues, I got a hunch the market for those might have cooled off.
What do you think about a policeless Minneapolis, Patrick?
They do admit they don't exactly know what they're talking about here.
Right.
They just want to get rid of it. But I think you got to have a plan B before you can execute plan A, don't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know. I'm not in favor of it. There's certainly some issues, but I'm not in favor of it. But at least the mayor had a good week, didn't he?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Did you see him?
I don't think our mayor has ever had as bad a week as Jake, as good old Jake.
No. Do you see him dancing in the crowd and then had to make the walk of shame after the protesters ripped the hell out of him?
Yes, and he also, okay, I shouldn't say this, but I guess the weeping at the casket was a little overdone.
That was
too.
a little bit of pandering, I thought.
Yeah. But who knows? He's who knows? I mean, he's a guy who's still upset that they shot off fireworks in 2014. So I don't know.
George is still getting funerals, by the way. I think he's on number 3 today. He's finally back in Houston.
Houston, big one down there. Yeah. Well, it's not George's fault. Everybody is using this to make a point, I guess. So, and
I have a question, Pat. We broached this briefly on Garage Logic, but at what point, with all these, let's not have police in Minneapolis. At what point are the likes of the Twins going to step up and say, hello? Or are they just going to not get involved in it?
Well, they're going to stay. This plan will have to be formulated before you start opposing it, I would imagine. I think much of this is to mollify the. There was only a few thousand protesters. I don't know, 1,000 protesters. How many?
I don't know.
But I think that's done. But I see this is happening all over the country.
Right.
Miami said something today about. You know what? Again, ahead of my time. What did I say about airplanes? Honor system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's what we can try in the city. Mm-hmm. The honor system.
Good luck to you. Good luck to you. The plan hasn't been approved yet, but I do oppose it.
Well,
whatever it is.
We haven't seen what it is, and certainly I think that. Yeah, they got to tell us what idea B is. I do like the fact that if we're having some rampaging domestic abuser in a domestic disturbance, where about 50% of these shootings take place, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to send us a mental health worker and have her knock on the door politely and say, or him.
Please stop this. Would you please stop this?
Yeah, but we have to treat one another with more respect here. Yeah. So.
We'll send out the choir of justice to sing off-key folk songs.
Yeah, it's it's hard to know how over the top to get here in ridiculing this because of the situation. But man alive, that's it makes no sense. And by the way, you know what else is important downtown?
What?
Businesses.
Well, they're going to leave, man.
Big office buildings. You tell the people downtown in big office buildings that they're not going to have legitimate police protection anymore. They're going to get out of there.
We said that on the show today. So you're in a 12-member law firm on the 17th floor of the Acme building. You don't need to be there. You'll end up out in Edina somewhere.
Yeah,
rent a space.
And by the way, there's going to be plenty of office space available everywhere after this, as everybody found out you could have people working at home. Yeah. So, I don't know, the whole the chaos, the financial chaos in so many areas is going to be amazing when this whole thing is over. Empty malls and condos not selling and downtown. Well, I mentioned Reavers today. I drove by the Ziggy Dome yesterday. $1.15 billion. We have invested in that. Virtually all of it public money when you consider what the fans paid for it. But the city of Minneapolis, I believe, by the time they get done paying off what they have to pay off over a 30-year period, when you include the interest, it's like $600 million. Wow. How are you going to get that back?
You know a couple closely. You know a couple that went from the suburbs to downtown as they empty nested.
Yes.
And they have one of the nice condos, I suppose, in an old warehouse building or something. I wonder what they think now. I meant to ask. I know the guy. I meant to next time I see him, I want to ask him.
Well, they're I was in the North Loop yesterday, and everything was hunky-dory, sitting outside. But, I don't know what. That was in the daytime, too.
Well, I was just going to say, Minneapolis' main issues are usually from about 9 p.m. till about 5 a.m.
Well, the interesting thing is downtown, the Hennepin Avenue area, they have been begging the police for more, enforcement in that not the North Loop area as much as that area, right?
The warehouse district over towards
the warehouse
light rail.
district. They have been begging them for more police enforcement because of the youth running wild down there and fights and muggings and stuff like that. And now you're going to have fewer police? Okay, thank you.
Reavers, are you done working downtown?
Yes, completely.
Yeah, that's gone. All right, that's good.
That was mostly killed by the pandemic. But then I'm done. I'm not. I have 2 kids to get home to. I don't need that. Need it that bad.
Well, but it is nice that the bars are open, right?
Well, I was telling Joe earlier.
Weren't they supposed to wait until June 7th?
Well,
June
outdoor,
10th?
Outdoor is fine, but the bar. I didn't think the bars were open over the weekend.
I got a snapshot from a cell phone photo of someone who stopped to get a pizza at one of the local bars, and as he went in to pick it up, there were 50 people shoulder to shoulder gulping down the beers. So that it's over, by the way. The Governor Walz is, thank God, maybe we got the hospitals, we gave them their shot, right, to get ready for this.
Yeah.
But it's people have stopped listening. It's not, play ball. What the hell? I mean, people are not paying attention anymore, so you might as well turn her loose.
And they never will again, by the way.
No, if it comes roaring back in the fall, nobody's going to listen to what you say.
Ross Douthat of the New York Times. You ever read him?
I haven't lately, no.
Well, he's what passes for someone with at least somewhat of a conservative view in the New York Times, and he had a really, really interesting piece today on how we managed to convince ourselves to deny reality. When the pandemic first hit, public health was going to take care of it, and then when that failed, these lockdown orders were going to take care of it. And then Trump went through the period where he said it's just going to go away on its own, and on and on and on and on. My point being, he got to the point in the column where he said none of those things worked, and none of them will ever be tried again because nobody will listen. It's over.
No, and let's face it. I in a lot when what was happening in Italy occurred, we had reason to panic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but at some point, you cannot. I've said all along, you cannot tell us stay in your house for 2 months or however long. And by the way, there's still a 70% chance you're going to get it. It's just coming later. That don't. If I got to get it, let me have it in March when it's cold instead of June when the weather's nice, right?
Right.
I want to get her, early and take my chances,
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's let's somebody figure out what to do about this. Right? Get a flu shot.
Well, it would be called a vaccine.
I know.
And
but
we don't have one yet.
Now we get the flu shot and kind of hope that increases your chances of not getting it to some extent.
Right.
Doesn't make you immune. And then you get your shingle shot too. Now you get that one too. Have you had one of those lately?
I don't
you got to
think I
get
had
the
a
shingle shot, I guess.
I don't think I had a shingle shot.
And now you get this one, and then it's going to eventually, but it's not going to make you. It's not going to be like polio, right? It's going to just reduce your odds of getting it.
I hope it's not like polio. Yeah.
No. I mean polio. We pretty well eliminated polio. You had to work after that. Jonas Salk, by the way.
He's all right.
He deserved. I hope somebody's got a statue of him someplace because I wouldn't want that damn polio.
No, that was a bad thing.
No, that was a bad one.
Yeah.
That was good.
When you're right,
really out on a limb there.
I got to make one admission. Medicine and science are not my strong point.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm okay on math.
Yep.
A little bit of geography, history, I can do that, but
science and medicine,
I'm geometry, no, either. That, and measuring the angles and adding them all up, I can't do that either.
Did you ever have to dissect a frog in high school?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, we had to do that.
Yeah.
I bet they don't do that anymore.
No, heavens no.
That'd be animal cruelty.
That would have been my sophomore year of high school. We had a couple of rowdy farm kids that brought in live ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they he had it in the tray. His name was Peter. He was a bit of a troublemaker, but he was pretty funny. And then he had
bite the head off it like Ozzy Osbourne?
No. He was pretending that he had it in his pocket, in his shirt pocket, and he let it out and said, "Oh my God, it's alive!" It was pretty funny.
I think that'd have been funny.
My first wife knew the Rowdy Patrick, right?
Sure.
But I've thought about it in years, and she only has herself to blame, right?
Absolutely.
Because the first time I brought her over to the house to meet the old man, there were 200 frogs who had their legs removed, sitting on the kitchen floor on a big thing, croaking. still croaking, even though their legs were in the 2 frying pans.
Oh,
And she didn't run out. She should have ran out right
Yeah, she
then.
should-
Right?
that should have been a signal.
That should have. I mean, this is a girl who ate mashed potatoes, and now we got. And I introduced her to the old man, and he says, "Gene, you want some frogs?" And I think she was dumbfounded and did not probably answer that. Damn, they were tasty.
So she
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
make the connection to what she would later discover.
Yes,
You're right. That is on
This
her.
is, the big event of the fall for us was to go down and flip over the grain boards that we had in the lake and catch the frogs. So,
God, you've told me this 1,000 times, and I still don't know what is a grain board.
it's a big, heavy board that they used to put on containers of grain, I guess. I don't know. We always call them grain boards. How would I know? My only visits to the farm were to make sure it wasn't in any season where they were working.
Right.
Are you guys doing anything? Did you ever detassel corn, Joe?
Oh, God.
No, I don't think I did.
I got signed up for that for once. You can make some money. You can detassel corn. My career lasted about 2 hours. That was it. I'm done.
On the totem pole though of jobs ranked, that's up towards the top because
they don't do
there's-
it anymore.
Well,
They
there's
got the
nothing
machine.
worse than getting assigned to pick rock.
Well,
That's
what is
the worst.
what is detasseling corn? Is that
You
like when
used
I
to
buy
have to-
corn, I got to peel the skin off?
You used to have, we have to take one off the top, right? You
God,
had
I
to-
wish Kenny was part of this
We had
conversation.
to pull something off the top of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That hairy thing, look like a wig or something.
You had to do it. This is feed corn. This wasn't seed corn. This was feed corn. And I don't think, did we not want the cattle eating the thing
Well,
on the
you would
top
either
or something?
detassel it for one of two reasons: either because the family was going to eat it, or you would dry it out for animal food.
Well, they got the corn pickers now that don't leave a kernel on the ground, but that wasn't the way it was back then.
Ooh.
No.
No. So,
Boy, it's amazing what we talk about when there ain't no baseball.
well, we're slowly beating on each other, the owners and the players, but they're it seems like they're working on doable compromises finally. 76 games and 75% of your pay, and the players still want 100%, not of the whole total, but the prorated 76 games. And if they throw 80 at them, the players are going to have to take it and play ball, don't you think?
I think so.
What was the great tweet that you read to me off the air from the guy out in L.A.?
Oh, L.A. says they have gone from what is it?
The owners, whatever they offered.
Where is it? Andy McCullough, who's the Dodger beat writer. He's pretty damn good. He says, let me find it here. I don't think it's very far down my list here. So. Where is it? That's good. That's good. That's good. You have to give credit to Major League Baseball for conceding from their initial offer of 6 of one to now offering a half dozen of the other, he said. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Why aren't we playing town ball yet?
Boy, is that a great question.
No idea.
Why aren't we playing Little League yet?
I had no idea. That's going to be and the June 6th, they still said no games. And they won't. But who do you talk to? Who do you get an explanation from?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anybody in that government, in this Walls collection, who tells us why? Without specifically, not just these generalities.
I think what we need, Pat, is another layer of government to maybe oversee
I
these
think
types
we
of
need
things.
someone that people can call up and say, why? Why are bars open? Why are bars opening where you're going to have 60 people slobbering on each other? That was the word of a guy on the baseball board who should go nameless. But you can't have 50 people watching a baseball game. It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But this thing, and I will admit that they had tremendous confusion at the first start. They were just throwing darts. They didn't know what to do. And but the thing that has driven me crazy from for at least 2 months, 6 weeks, is the inconsistencies are unbelievable.
Pat, it's all about the dials, man. You got to turn the dial.
Yeah, got to turn the dial. Well,
Isn't there a little baseball on the dial? Let's go to baseball.
I got news for you, Tim. The dial has been turned by the public. The public has turned the dial. They are no longer listening, and there are a few that have turned a deaf ear, but there are a few who haven't, who are still listening, but most have turned the deaf ear.
Have you dined out yet?
Yes, yesterday.
I did Friday. I did Friday. No, I did Saturday.
Yesterday in the North Loop, we had a Parlor Burgers at outside the Borough.
Oh, the Parlor Burger.
And they had a nice table out there. It was a gorgeous day, and it was fine. The scenery was outstanding.
I bet.
Down there in the North Loop, just some really handsome people walking around. Mm-hmm. We did get the glance because there are not a lot of 74-year-olds with their 68-year-old wife dining at that point. A little younger crowd, like half a century.
Did you give him the? I needed to get out of the house.
Hey, let's face it. If Tony Oliva walked by and I say hi, Tony, I would have went the only one who I recognized him. It was, but it was, God, it was a nice day.
Well, so if the two of you went out dining, that means the game of flaws was good over the weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We had a 2-hour drive, and only a few past recriminations were brought up. So it was. The big thing we're into now is you never support me, Joe.
Oh, yeah. See, you got to create a rule that you can't play the game in the car because you're trapped. You're trapped. You can't walk away.
Well, not only that, you can't bring up. There should be like a 72-hour time limit to not repeat old stuff.
I agree.
If something that happened 30 years ago.
Yep.
Okay, you mentioned this on Tuesday. You can't mention it again until Saturday, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
You got to have a
48-hour rule.
I'm going to make it a 72-hour rule.
All right.
In the game of flaws. I know.
Right.
I know. In the game of life, it's 48 hours.
Oh, Pat, you guys should write the handbook, the Game of Flaws rule book.
Here's the trouble,
we should.
Though.
We should. It'd probably be a bestseller.
Here's the trouble. I don't think Mrs. Ricey's aware of the attention the Game of Flaws has gotten, and if she does, that will be a big flaw.
Yeah.
That'll be a grand slam home run against me in the Game of
That's
Flaws.
Puckett hitting the home run in the series.
Right, that's right.
That
And
might be game, set, and match.
And we'll see you in divorce court.
Right. Oh, God.
Were you going to share what you shared with me about the coverage of the NBA with the mayor? Did you want me to remind you?
Oh, yeah. Joe, the NBA is creating this. Why are they waiting until July 31st?
I don't know. They must have got the date from Walls.
Everything's been loosened. Everything has been loosened up down there. Orlando says, "Come on in." It must be when TV wants it, huh?
Or that,
TV
or is it also
TV wants to have the playoffs winding down, and when? I don't know.
before football?
Well,
I'm sure.
not before football, but they won't get it done before football, but early football. But they're going to create this bubble, Joe, of hotels and the arena at Disney World, right?
Yep.
Disney World, and people are gonna, you'll be able to go out and dine in there, the players, but the players can't get in their car and drive to Lake, someplace or something. And if you want to have your writer within this bubble, where you'll be tested and stuff like that, your beat writer, 60,000.
What?
60,000.
The NBA would charge a newspaper $60,000.
Charge if you're going to send your reporter to be inside the bubble.
Yeah.
In other words, get to cover the games, get to be there for the games, and apparently get some access to players. I don't know what the access would be. I was told. Now it hasn't been publicized because I wonder if outlets don't want to take on the NBA to make it look like they're whining. You should, get the. But $60,000 if you want to be inside the bubble.
I ain't paying it.
No, well, luckily we have the Timberwolves, so it's not an issue.
Right.
But
is that going to start a trend?
Well, it is to some degree. Not that kind of money, but it's this whole the whole way that sports reporting is done now for non-rights holders is going to be changed when this is over. Wandering around the clubhouse at 8:30 in the morning in spring training and see what you can find, those days are going to be over.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back and do it now.
You got to. I'll say one thing. About 6 weeks ago, I had a nice list of about 8 or 9 stories I wanted to do, and then I was adding to that as we went along, features on various people and things, and
Yeah.
she's done.
Yep.
The well is dry.
It is now Monday, and I got no idea where I'm headed for Thursday. I have no idea. She is done.
I know. Kirk Cousins, your thoughts.
Yes, right. Because now that Collar isn't on talking about it on the station 2 hours every day, I need some Kirk Cousins Can he handle pressure? How about?
There we go.
Can Kirk handle pressure? That'd be
we go.
good. That'd be good. So.
We do have a new video, gentlemen, if you'd like, from our president.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, we need that.
How about the president's popularity rating? Not doing well.
Yeah, she took a little hit over the weekend.
In the
He's down in Jimmy Carter territory.
civil unrest, yeah.
So here is 2 minutes of the 5-minute speech that our president is delivering on race in America. Here we go.
Throughout our history, great leaders such as Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr. You gotta remember the Jr. Because it's like with Don, my son Don Jr. I say, you gotta remember to say the Jr. because you're not me.
Yeah.
These great heroes have fought to develop a greater sense of unity, equality, and prosperity for all Americans. It's true, they fought for not just African Americans, but they fought for everybody. Not a lot of people know that, but they wanted people to be great. And even though Martin Luther King Jr. was very popular and defeated racism, occasionally things happen that are tough for our country to deal with, and we have to revisit our problems that have caused us so much pain. There's still pain. And believe me, I feel the pain. There's still a lot of pain in our country, and we've got to fix it.
So good.
The recent violence against such bad violence against certain members of the African American community recently have troubled me greatly, and I intend to do strong things to combat it. We're going to fight. This is a new war. Just like the COVID was a war, this is a war, and we're going to do it. We're going to fight it, and we're going to win. I have put together a commission of great African American leaders and people of other faiths and groups to find a way to combat our recent problems with this scourge of racism and tension. I fully back our police and law enforcement who are doing a tremendous job dealing with very tough things.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Is that all you could get?
Well, he re-edited the video because usually he likes to keep them under 2 minutes.
Okay.
I think that was part of the reason why.
All right. I would have liked to know where he was going.
Well,
there.
that's the part that was making me a little nervous.
Okay.
Other faiths he's got. But I love every time he mixes in, not a lot of people know that, he does that visually so perfectly.
Yep.
Because what was your line, Joe? He's the king of the non sequitur. Or that impression. He nailed
Pat, the other day I was saying, I recalled, the Dark Star story where I said, Dark, what is the theme of your show? Do you have a plan? And he goes, what can the next 3 hours do for me, Dark Star? And I said, Trump. That's him.
That's him. That is, yeah.
What can these 4 years being president do for me? That's it.
I've said from the get-go, that you cannot be the president of the United States and respond to every slight.
Right.
There are people who are not going to like you.
Right.
That's part of the job. Right. You cannot be upset every time somebody, in the midst of all this, he still has time to send out insults for Romney and Colin Powell and Colin Powell, and it's unbelievable. You have to ignore a few things, right?
Well, we kept waiting for that to become evidence. It's never going to.
No, it's not.
I always thought it would.
Mm-hmm. A
lot of people know that.
The other day, I woke at 3:15 a.m. to do what people do at 3:15 a.m. when you're a 74-year-old male, and my newspaper was there Sunday morning. I couldn't believe it.
How about
3:15. So I tweeted that out. I said, blah blah blah. Hey, this is great, man. And but I was thinking of all the people that think Trump is this hard worker because he tweets in the middle of the. I've said this before. He tweets in the middle of the night. He's up peeing just like the rest of us. Okay, he's up. He's 74 years old. He's up taking a whiz. That's what we do. So.
I don't get my Sunday papers till at least 9:30.
Oh, that's too late.
I know.
Well, what
That's
was
too
the?
late.
Did you tell Pat the story of?
How's the? I haven't seen the Pioneer Press in a couple of weeks. How's she looking on Sunday?
Well,
thin?
Pat, the A section contains the Metro and the business.
Although sadly, the obits are unbelievable. We had 10 pages again on Sunday.
Well, is that COVID?
Quite a bit of it.
But it has to be.
I think it is also older people dying in hospitals, and the family is being, because of COVID being around, the families aren't visiting them, and I think they're feeling guilty because they haven't been able to tell the family, the loved one, how much they love them, and they're doing it in print. We had, and those things aren't cheap.
No.
Paid obits, but but a lot of it's got to be COVID. Yeah, I would think. I don't know.
Joe, have you ever told Pat the story of when you ran into your delivery guy after your paper hadn't made it to the front door?
Well, I went up to SA
Yeah.
to get the Sunday papers, and the guy in front of me was this is 9:30 in the morning. He had 2 hot dogs and can of pop or something. He just got done paying, and as he went out the door, it dawned on me, that's my guy. Wait a minute. That's my paper guy. But for some reason, I just finished paying for the papers and didn't say anything to him, but he was sitting in his car eating the hot dogs. And I'm thinking, Michael, I had to come up here and buy the Sunday papers. You're up here eating a hot dog at 9:30 in the morning. 2 hot dogs. They probably had a
He's trying to
special.
get his energy up. For you got it. Is he a tosser? Does he fling them up?
Yes.
He's a flinger.
He's a flinger.
Now my guy, I don't complain about it much, but we do have these little small evergreeny things out there.
Well,
and once in a while,
that could be a variety of things.
Once in a while, I have to.
What's an evergreeny thing?
The little ones, but not the ones that grow big. The ones that's small. They stay down there by the ground, but they get thick. Whatever the hell they call them.
I don't know. I can't. Jeez.
But they throw it, and once in a while you find them in the. You got to look in there to see if it's in there.
Zame's getting off.
By the way, the landscaper showed up today. I'm very curious as to what we're doing this year.
Weren't you consulted about the plan? Is this the we or is this the me? What's this going to cost me?
Yes, that was the one. That was.
You know
the
what?
me.
Then you're going to love everything they do.
Yeah, right. That was the what's. That is exactly the what's this going to cost me?
I do just
one little word.
One word.
Changed the whole message.
I do still love the visual that I have in my head when Joe discovered that his newspaper guy was munching on a couple of roller dogs from the gas station.
Yeah. So it's in the dead of winter. It was just dreadful. Pat, my favorite early newspaper story is covering the Vikings in Oakland, getting on the red eye, and walking up my sidewalk to pick up the paper on the stoop. What I had written was waiting by the time I got home from Oakland.
Oh, you had the red eye. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
oh, it's fantastic. They they tell the famous story about what was the guy's Barry, great writer Barry, but he was the columnist in San Diego, and he was notoriously slow. And Jerry McGee, remember him?
Yeah.
The San Diego football writer, famous
Yeah.
football writer, covered every Super Bowl from the get-go. And they were in Baltimore, and Jerry sent in his gamer and made his flight to San Diego from Baltimore, landed, and we called the office to make sure everything was okay. He says, yeah. They said, yeah, when is Barry going to file? If it's that hard to work, don't do it. Find a different job.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Dr. Gary Lippman.
Dr. Gary trapped in Fenway till midnight.
It was that hard a week. You know what? I always tell people when they're back, I've said it for years, when they're struggling and taking their time. And I said, don't worry, nobody's going to read it anyway. Come on, go ahead.
Let's go here.
Yeah, let's go. Come on, get her going. Get her going. Although I'm not as quick as I used to be. You used to be lightning. Are you still lightning?
Yep.
Wow. I'm
I
not.
saw no reason to be slow,
Yeah, well, I think it's
especially if
just,
there was an earthquake.
I think it's just the mind. It's the mind because I sometimes
Sound like Trump. It's the mind. It's the mind.
Not often, but at least once a day, think of a word and can't remember what it is. So
Yep.
I have to type it into synonyms for another word and see if it pops up. So some of those missing words give me very much doubts about myself long term.
Were you at the earthquake game with Joe?
No, Joe wasn't at the earthquake game.
No,
not
we
Candlestick.
We have been at our own earthquake games. You were at the World Series
you
earthquake.
mean
I was
that
at a
in
Rose Bowl.
Pasadena,
Yeah.
yes. I think I don't know where I'd rather be because see, in Pasadena, there that whole valley could crumble.
Right.
That's some ancient ground there in the Pasadena Valley. That's for sure. But I don't know. But did it just shook, right? It didn't wobble.
It shook enough that I got out of there so fast. People could not believe it. I was done writing that fast.
Well, that was that was an interesting experience.
Which is amazing because I can't type, so I'd have to go through it again to make sure it was readable. I mean, that thing started shaking. I think I was the only one who was really bothered by it. Nobody else seemed upset.
Well, when the one happened in San Francisco, when it finally finished, until people saw the fires and stuff,
Yeah.
they let out this great big cheer. The California crowd let out this great big cheer, and then they found out that the lights had gone out and the board had gone out and everything had gone out, and then all of a sudden, people had little TVs that were still working, and they were showing the fires, and they showed the Bay Bridge had collapsed, and then people knew it was a little more serious than they thought.
Candlestick was not a very good park, was it?
It was, yeah. I never went there before they turned it into a football stadium, because it was, originally it was just a ballpark, but it was. It wasn't well located because of the weather. It would get a little cool.
That earthquake did more for me to understand the geography of San Francisco and Oakland. That was an amazing lesson. I got it all straightened out in my head about the whole deal and where Candlestick is. And I'm not going anywhere with this story. I'm just remembering that I got the whole geography taken care of there.
I'll repeat this story again, but my favorite ever, the favorite thing about the whole earthquake was by our friend Carl Peterson from the St. Paul paper.
Yep.
Who he and his wife were walking in. They were just there in San Francisco on vacation, and they were walking down there where it hit, and across the street was a big Kentucky Fried Chicken with the bucket.
Yep.
With the big bucket. And that bucket started waving to the point that it was getting close to them. And all Pete, who's a very proud, quiet man, could think of was, man dies in bucket of chicken. And it would be a national story, and he would be ridiculed. Carl Peterson, such and such age of Eagan, Minnesota.
And here I thought, you were going to say that you were just so fortunate and lucky to have stumbled upon so many heroes that were saving people's lives.
Well, that was in Oakland the next day.
Oh, was that okay?
That was in Oakland the next day. They had me go over and cover the bridge collapse. And, a lot of the fellas were telling me about their exploits, and I became suspicious when I talked to some law enforcement people. Thought that maybe some of the stories were a little over the top.
A little fabricated?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway. So
I gotta go.
what else we got going? What else we got going?
We got nothing.
Gotta go.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't been outside all day, and it's 95 degrees.
Yes.
He's gonna stand outside.
And I'm going to be
gonna
driving
stand out there.
home with the top down, baby. I am safe.
No.
I am safe. These germs aren't going to get me. They aren't germs, are they?
It's an airborne.
No, it's
I want to see it. I want to see one. I want to see one, damn it.
Well, that's the problem. We need to make bigger viruses.
That's right. That's right. We got to be able to spray something in the air and have it turn purple or something like that.
Stay away.
All righty.
All right. Well, one of these days, one of these Mondays,
We're going to see the mayor.
What?
We're going to see
Oh, yeah,
the mayor
yeah, you
one
are,
of these
yeah.
Mondays. Hey,
Yeah.
you didn't get to the Lex for the rooftop, huh?
I have not.
They just opened their rooftop. I think
believe
we're
they
gonna have
did.
to go over and check that out.
Why don't we? All right.
All right.
Yep.
See you.
Very
Yep.
good.
Yep.
If you have questions about your retirement savings, you want to work with a person that knows what he's doing or she's doing, whoever it is, in this case, Josh. Do what I did and work with a person that you know you can trust. That is Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. This is Patrick Ricey. You need to see my guy Josh now, especially with what's going on in the markets today. You need Josh's straight talk, not any sugar-coated advice. Sit down with Josh for a no-cost, no-obligation, 48-minute consultation to review your investments, including your IRA and 401k. You can learn how you can benefit from Josh Arnold's experienced and focused approach. Call Josh now at 952-925-5608. Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, 952-925-5608.
Investment advisor services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a registered advisor in the state of Minnesota. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk.